I love sneaking around.
I've noticed that about you.
I'm doing it right now.
You're like wearing like sort of like a classic little blindfold with the eyes cut out and like a striped shirt and
black beanie on.
Yeah. And you're tiptoeing around with a large paper bag that's labeled lunch.
Every time that you can't hear me on the microphone, I'm actually like disappearing physically from the room.
Scurrying
and I
about.
just go, and I'm like in front of it. Yeah. I give my little line. I go, haha, that's cool about your toe.
For sure.
And then I disappear again.
And I'll say, as your co-host, it's distracting. It's like honestly something I've been meaning to talk to you about. But I guess if that's what works for you.
Well, I was going to say that I don't want to inconvenience you, but in this case, I might have to. It's just how I create.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense.
It's just how the work is done. As I'm sure you understand.
It's kind of the kind of thing where it like makes my job harder. And also I don't think it adds a lot.
Well, like, fuck you, Not really.
I know. Hey, welcome to yeah.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Fuck. What's the name of this show? I'm Sel.
I'm Hyperlink.
We missed you.
Yeah, we sure did.
I missed you.
I definitely, me too.
I missed everyone.
Every single person?
Everyone listening, and especially you.
Aw.
Sometimes it's like I have to go to work and I don't see my friends.
That's so true, and it's not fair, and it is hard.
It isn't fair.
It's not fair. Fuck that.
WTF to
Fuck
me.
work. Fuck jobs.
Yeah, fuck work.
I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
You are in the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
What's your next move?
Wow. All right. I'm looking around. I'm checking my pocket. Do I have any money on me?
You have one lunch card that has been punched 3 out of 10 possible times.
Okay. I'm going to fucking try my luck. I'm getting in line. Is there a line?
Well, here's what you see.
Okay.
It's a long, narrow, impossibly white room. There's a trough of like various like entrees, and it seems to extend out to the edge of your vision. You can watch it like stretch out forever. And then immediately behind you, there's kind of like a large doorway. Yeah. Which is closed. Right. So what do you do now?
Now this trough. Sneeze guard involved?
Oh, there's a big sneeze guard all the way down to the very edge, just to a pinprick at the edge of your farthest vision.
And it's on the ground. It's a trough.
Yeah, it's like a trough.
And it's just all the way, and it's filled with, I'm going to go up there, I'm going to inspect that.
You're inspecting
What kind of smells and colors am I getting from behind the sneeze guard?
So just all manner of like a little sort of, that dessert you would get at camp with like the Oreos and the crushed up gummy worms. It's like cups haphazardly piled on top of each other. Yeah. Enough cheeseburgers to feed a village just in one long section. And there's no dividers between any of these things. It's just all manner of like slices of pizza thrown on top of each other, lukewarm, just kind of like blending into one like semi-homogeneous mass, and it's this all the way down to the end of the way.
It sounds delightful to me. First thing I'm going to have to do is take my gloves off and put my hand directly in the pudding.
So you put both your hands all the way?
I'm putting my right hand in the pudding. I'm putting my left hand in the cheese pizzas.
Okay. So you're feeling this kind of like this like duopoly of like textures and temperatures, and how's that feeling for you?
I'm like really enjoying it.
How's that impacting you psychologically?
I mean, I'm feeling it under my fingernails, which is a little upsetting a little bit, but like every time I close my eyes, I'm just hearing some loud noises every time I close my eyes.
I'm going
to quickly remove my hands from this area. I'm going to take a handful of pizzas and throw them behind me, and I'm taking off. I'm running.
You're running?
I'm running as fast as I fucking can.
You're not fast enough.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn around.
The luncher is here.
I've had a cheeseburger in my pocket. I snagged it before I turned. I'm going to look the cheese... What's their name?
The luncher?
I almost called them the cheeseburger. I'm going to say, are you Mr. Cheeseburger? I'm going to look at the luncher.
The luncher is a hulking beast of a thing.
Okay.
The luncher barely holds corporeal form from one moment to the next. They're a shifting, massive growth of edible muck. Yeah. They're kind of just like lingering before you, just dripping with all manner of food items. Yeah. Their facial area just like kind of like unfurls itself into like a wide gaping mouth, and from that just like creaks like a destroyed chair, just scream out of this thing's mouth. Yeah. And it kind of just like closes back up and leans forward.
I'm gonna walk over to that chair and say, thank you so much, Mr. Cheeseburger. I'm gonna take the chair, plopping that down beside me. I'm gonna sit down and look at that luncher, Mr. Cheeseburger, right now and say, how are you feeling today?
The luncher...
I'm eating my first cheeseburger.
The luncher is impressed. The luncher not so much takes a chair, but kind of becomes one. And a table, a whole room around you. You're kind of like fully enveloped in this like entire luncher experience. Almost like you're on the inside of like a massive wave. The luncher's kind of created this like amphitheater like space around you. Mm-hmm. And in the center is like a low table. And on it now you look down and you see a plate. And on top of the plate is just a little wriggling mass. Some part of the luncher is on that plate.
This is of the luncher.
Of the luncher.
I say, Mr. Cheeseburger, you've set a lovely table. I lean forward and I say, but I've noticed that you have set it for 3.
And you turn and look. And there they are. Hi, I'm Bingles! Says Bingles.
All right.
I see you met the luncher!
I'm visibly agitated. My skin is angry at this. I'm like breaking out in hives, seeing Mr. Pringles.
I'm Mr. Pringles!
I'm looking at Mr. Pringles right now and I say, I need you to stop. This is completely inappropriate.
The luncher deeply chuckles.
This is a joke to you, Dr. Cheeseburger.
The chuckling gets louder and more obtuse.
Cavernous.
Yeah. Mr. Pringles has produced a little, like, one of those ping pong ball things that's attached to the string, a little paddleboard.
Yeah.
He's just rapidly paddling that.
Okay, so what I've done is I've clearly taken a little piece of the luncher that's in front of me and I'm smearing it on the hives to sort of soothe the anger within me. Mm-hmm. And as I'm doing that, I'm a little bit more comfortable with the situation and I say, can I see a menu?
So you look down and in front of you already there is sort of like a, not quite a paper so much as like a thin sheet of rock. Mm-hmm. And somehow imposed upon that rock, little bits of the luncher are formed like little letters.
Okay.
And the letters just say, the luncher.
Wow. So I'm looking at this menu intently. I'm saying, I'll have a glass of wine for myself, and I'll have some seltzer for Mr. Pringles over here.
Hi, Mr. Pringles!
Mr. Pringles, if we're gonna do this, you and me, we need to do this together, and what I need from you is to be less of yourself.
Fuck you!
I tell Mr. Pringles to sit down and shut the fuck up. Because there's business being done. And there's a big meal to be had.
The luncher, and I don't see why you don't engage me on that.
Here's the thing about Mr. Pringles. He's deeply untrustworthy. Anything that moves as agitatedly as that and does that to my skin cannot be a wholesome meal.
You're right.
What is the nature of this beast?
The Mr. Pringles is sort of like a scruff, wiry, wily cat creature. Not quite a cat, but cat-like in the way that it moves.
Right.
And Mr. Pringles has a gun.
I'm not happy with that at all.
I have a little pistol. I'm Mr. Pringles.
I'm looking at Dr. Cheeseburger. I'm saying, Dr. Cheeseburger, what is happening right now I cannot be responsible for as your dinner guest, and I hope that's okay. I look at Dr. Cheeseburger and I say, I'd like to commence with our appetizers, please.
And so, just as you say that, like a team of assistants in all manner of drapery, just like full like black cloth that like dangles, like it's like dripping water all over their faces, just like emerges from like some unseen corner, mm-hmm. and they bring in just like all manner of unbelievable delicacies, the kind of food that isn't just not in our world, mm-hmm. but couldn't exist in others.
Wow.
Delicacies that are almost impossible to even wrap your brain around when you look at them, much less experience them. Mr. Pringles takes both grubby little paws and is creating like full, like thick handfuls and just like licking the flavor off of them.
From deep within me, I pull out some chopsticks. I start with the piano dumplings.
The piano dumplings taste like they sound.
They're crunching against my teeth in a really cacophonous sort of way.
Right.
Mr. Pringles is making a loud sound in my ear. I'm so laser focused that this gibbering pile of filth cannot even get in my zone. I'm locking eyes. I'm saying, Dr. Cheeseburger, the piano dumplings were fantastic. I take my left hand, a big fork/spoon, as I go and I sort of dip into the light dip. And I just kind of bring that to my lips and I say, oh, what fragrant light. And I look Dr. Cheeseburger in the eye and I say, I'm not full.
This alone, Dr. Cheeseburger, even though Dr. Cheeseburger is in a room at this point, is completely taken aback. The walls are like wavering with uncertainty, and the floor beneath you kind of like shimmers and shudders like the surface of an ocean. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Mr. Pringles has somehow produced a tom-tom drum, and it's kind of like producing like a little like beat on the tom-tom drum, mm-hmm. like doing like a fun like rap about a U.S. president.
I lean over and I say, Dr. Cheeseburger, a moment, please. I kind of sidle up against Dr. Lucario. What was their name? Mr. Pringles.
It's Dr. Lucario now.
Dr. Lucario, the Pringle man, is right here next to me, and I say, listen, buddy, I'm loving what you're doing here, but I'm gonna need that thing we talked about. So clearly, I've been very upset with Dr. Pringle Lucario this entire time, and as I let my arm around him in this sort of like comradely fashion, and I tighten my grip, and I pop the top of the Pringle can, and it's just and he's completely limp in my arms now because I've reached inside of him, and I peel that back, and right inside is my beautiful little guitar. It's so small. It is the smallest guitar you've ever seen in my life. I look at the dehydrated, desiccated remains of Dr. Pringle, and I say, you've served your purpose well. I look up at the sky. I say, Dr. Cheeseburger, you've trapped me in this delicious, delicious multi-course meal, and we've only just started. I think it's time that you and I had a drink. I stand up. I'm in a white tuxedo. I'm back in that initial room. I'm sort of walking along, tracing one finger delicately in this trough slop all the way behind me. One line all the way to infinity. My left hand, I place it against the wall and I can feel Dr. Cheeseburger's heart beating. I lean over and I say, I've loved you this whole time. And I felt it deep, deep in my stomach. My breast pocket is vibrating a little bit. I look in there and there's an egg. And I crack that egg against my knee. And I slurp up the yolk inches away from the wall. And I can see the heart beating a little stronger. I say, Dr. Cheeseburger, I've really had a lovely time. What do you say we get out of here?
That door in the back opens right up, and it's just the most blinding light you've ever seen.
I say no. I'm gonna treat you right. I close the door. I cross the hallway. I make it to the other end. I pop that car door right open. And there next to me, it's my bride, Dr. Cheeseburger.
And you drive away.
I'm really glad you asked me this question because I have a question for you as well.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to the not animal sanctuary. What are you going to see first?
I'm probably gonna go see the side tables.
Yeah.
There's kind of a low exhibit, kind of just there's a rocky edifice that you kind of peer over from a little metal bar,
right,
and they're playing kind of hooting and various chirpy little woods noises, and you look down, and it's just little side tables. And there's one with kind of a plush top, and there's one that has just kind of a flat round surface, and one that's kind of longer, more oblong, and a darker kind of oaky wood.
Can I get a card table, a little green felt top table?
Sure, it's gonna depend on the time of day that you visit. Sometimes the card tables are kind of in the little hovel, the enclosure. Yeah,
that's such a cop out.
Well, I mean,
in a real zoo.
Sure, yeah.
An animal should not be allowed to have any privacy at all.
I totally agree. Here's my design for the. You've heard of Foucault and his ideal prison. Here's my design for the ideal zoo.
Yeah.
Okay, so every animal is entombed in a glass square, like a plexiglass square, and then that plexiglass square, exactly like a supervillain. And that plexiglass square, there's a handful of air holes that have been kind of precision drilled.
It's very funny to me.
Yeah, the supervillain layer.
They give him air, but nothing else.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know exactly what you mean.
For any sort of I need food, I need to shit, that's not really accounted for. No. This is a purely aesthetic zoo, and they're kind of lifted up with a huge contraption,
sort of claw suction cup,
right? Thick wiry rope is just kind of wrapped around. Did you ever play the iPhone game where you untangle the little wood thing?
No, but I've untangled wood things before.
So then there you go. So it's basically that, but they're tangled up there in these plexiglass cubes, right? Yeah. And they've been given sort of a chemical that makes them pissed, right? For the lack of freedom.
Oh, I mean the pissed chemical.
The pissed chemical pee. So they're up there and they're overdosing on chemical pee, and they're just losing their shit, and these crates are shaking violently, and there's always the tension and fear that one of them might break, and we've kind of placed one that's been shattered on the ground, and there's a bunch of muddy footprints kind of running from it, a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
And this is all happening in a kind of if you imagine a football stadium.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones where there's a huge dome, right?
I love
the big dome, and it's a closed top ceiling.
Absolutely.
And all the doors are locked, and there's 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people kind of all on the green. Yeah. And these animals are up there, and they're pissed, and they're dangling around, and they're spinning around in their own sick and their own filth in these huge glass boxes. Glass cubes, and there's a red floodlight that just coats the field, right?
Yeah,
and everyone's just delirious and running, and there's
they're hooting back up at the animals.
Right, yeah. And it's really just kind of we're the animals after all.
Wait, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Oh no?
Really, the lesson that I got here is I want to get my hands on some chemical pee. And also, animals are meant to be experienced once. An aesthetic animal experience.
Right.
This is the kind of experience that you go and you're okay, there it is, and it's completely faded from reality.
You think you get to go there? No.
I think I'm born there, obviously.
You wake up on the truck, and then you are on your way, and you're like, oh my god,
To be viewing or to enter a queue?
To be viewing.
Okay.
You wake up and you're on the truck, and like not in a chair, you're like tossed into
Right.
the large back of a semi truck,
Yeah.
like a moving truck.
Boom! I can hear me echoing inside the
Yeah,
steel.
and there's like 4 or 5 complete strangers. You've never even seen these people before.
everyone's breathing hard.
Everyone's breathing hard, haggard. I mean, just like there's like a whole lack of.
I'm putting on my
scenario.
most haggard face.
You're putting on your most haggard face, and you're kind of scrabbling at the walls. Yeah, exactly.
See, now I'm an animal.
Right, yeah. So there you go.
Gotcha.
And then the back of that truck is loaded into sort of the stadium.
Yeah.
And just piles and piles of people. And there's these like overly militant armed police officers with like zappy batons and just like if you try and
really
like even
scary.
step out of line.
Yeah.
And then all the doors shut and they lower in the cubes of the animals.
And I never touch them. They're never a threat.
Yeah, but they turn on the
they're
floodlights
above,
and
yeah.
there's the impression that they could come down at any moment. And you just let everyone marinate in that pressure, and that's my ideal zoo.
I kind of love that, but to me, what makes it like even better is that it's like that all the time. And the animals are always fine, and people are it's in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And there's just like open archways that you just wander through on your way to the coffee shop, and there's just this angry red light, and these animals scrabbling to kill each other, 100 feet off the ground. It's just blaring, droning noise, and you're like. Have you seen this?
Oh wow, there's a polar bear up there. Wow, that polar bear is really mad.
Totally filthy, matted fur. Animals are all fine. I want to make this clear. In our beautiful imagination, they're never actually hurt. They're just extremely chemically, artificially incensed and threatened to a feral state. But they're totally fine.
They're totally fine.
Yeah.
So I think there's 2 ways this is funny. One way is the animals are pissed and they're up there, and we're meandering through on a daily coffee shop stroll. Oh, I passed by the polar bears. He looked like he was furious. Like that kind of experience. Or the animals really are sedate and fine. They're up there fucking napping. And we are scrabbling and unable to escape. And like people are being torn asunder in the middle of this pit.
That's duality. So now what I'm forced to think about, and this was a thought that comes to me of my own volition, is nobody's upset in this situation. Nor the animals, nor us. They're completely inert, almost as if they were statues. But they are alive. And we also are completely inert. Some of us are looking up, and some of us are looking straight ahead. And nothing happens for 100 years.
Here's what I'm imagining, okay?
Yeah.
The room in this auditorium, this stadium.
Can we give it a name?
It's Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, it's Home Run Hitters Grand Slam Emporium.
It is Home Run Hitters Grand Slam Emporium now. So everyone is loaded into the Home Run
America's Grand Slam Emporium.
Home Run Hitters America's Grand Slam Emporium. Everyone's loaded into this place, right? And the air is purple and thick and intoxicating, and just like you walk in and it's just like a CBD wave.
Yeah.
You're just completely just like no, that's even too hard of breathing. It's just like you're just like completely
becoming inert.
And the animals are all like dead away, fainted in these slowly swinging cubes.
Yeah.
And there's like a low kind of like kind of sound playing throughout, and one by one the people who are packed to the gills. This auditorium barely able. You can just try so slowly. It feels like all your muscles are pulling against you. Your entire body is crying out to just be complete. And then one by one, just like
everybody collapses, and then they just
onto the floor.
Big broom push you out to the next space.
Yeah.
So, but I want to continue playing in this space because to me, I'm actually gonna leave it. That's okay. I was gonna go darker with it.
Go darker. No, I'm ready to go darker. I'm in the fucking zoo. You're
in the fucking zoo. All right. So in this situation again, it's like totally like quote unquote normal. We're back in stage 1 of the Dr. Grand Mario Emporium of the Home Run Hitters United States of America. And like I'm in the space and the animals are very upset, chemical piss. But in my mind, we're all packed in like animals ourselves on the ground area, but there's one person in the stands. And they're like watching and clearly waiting for something to happen. That I think would be an incredibly
How are they
exciting
acting?
thing. I think that they are like sitting there, like they have like these incredible mirrored sunglasses on, glinting in the light, and they're like taking the occasional note. And like there's one spotlight on them.
I think that's amazing, but this person is visibly upset. Like they're just
taking the glasses off.
They're just like they're like trying to like look away, but they can't bring themselves to. And then occasionally something happens, and they just like get even more agitated, and it just amplifies the stress of the whole situation. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that really. I mean, that's that Foucault thing. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you another question.
Sure.
Is playing monkey in the middle important?
God, yes. Oh my God, absolutely. Okay, so I'm just gonna right off the bat CW this lewd. This is about to get fucked up in here.
Okay.
Strap on for an exciting
Don't mind if I do.
discussion.
Okay.
Monkey in the Middle is an inherently kinky game.
You think so?
I think absolutely Monkey in the Middle is inherently kinky.
I have
It's
not
about
played a lot of
having
Monkey in the Middle as an adult.
Well, no, I mean, it's...
I should start.
Well, but imagine an adult game of Monkey in the
Okay.
Middle. Okay? This is a game about having and wanting. There's the quote-unquote monkey. You know, there's like a subjugation element right off the bat. You're not even a person. You're this monkey in the middle, right? You don't get the same rights and privileges as those who have.
Yeah.
The two doms
Yeah.
on either far end
doms.
of this game. And they have this totem, this object of want.
A small carved frog.
And this frog is the orgasm,
Yeah.
right? This is the nut that the monkey is trying so hard to get, and they you know they toss it about aimlessly. You know that these two doms are able to they are overwhelmed with the having of it. But it's what makes the game fun is not the having, it's the wanting.
Yeah.
Right? The monkey desperately trying more and more to appease these two doms, or sometimes take advantage of the inability of the doms to achieve total control.
Sure.
to get the nut. And once the nut is gotten, then they become a haver and somebody else becomes the have-not. So there's a switchiness to it as well.
Okay.
But ultimately it's a game about hard line domination and submission.
Wow.
It's about grinding that monkey in the middle into a whimpering mass of need until you finally give them the thing that they've been so desperate for.
Okay.
And then you yourself give it up.
My experience with the game is equally important, but a little different.
Really?
While you are, and fairly so, interested in coming, I was pretty interested in the frog totem for its own merits. However, I would say that playing Monkey in the Middle is important because it teaches you resourcefulness, quick-witted thinking, and agility.
Well, all those are important in coming.
Correct. I think that it's very important in two different ways now. I don't want to say I learned a lot because that knowledge I figured was somewhere there. But I wanted the frog totem. I want to be quick and fast.
The frog is just a metaphor.
All right, let me ask you a follow-up question. Mm-hmm. If the monkey's in the middle, who's on the outside?
The top.
Elephants. What'd you say? Animals. You're totally shocked.
Elephants.
Ooh, boy.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The humble onion.
Gross. Just kidding.
It is among nature's most devastating follies, wouldn't you agree?
I would.
So here's what I'm going to do now.
Okay.
I'm taking off my necklace.
Jesus Christ.
My little amulet.
Yeah.
I wear this around my neck at all times so that I can always feel it on my chest.
Yeah.
And I'm taking it now.
Okay.
I'm lifting it over the microphone and I'm placing it
Okay.
in the palm of your hand.
Thank you.
Do you feel how warm that is?
It's really hot. Like passing it from hand to hand.
That is the very essence of the onion.
Of onion kind.
Of onion kind right there in that amulet.
Jesus Christ.
It's yours now.
Okay.
So I need you to weaponize this for me.
My friend, weaponized power has always been latent in the onion. Mm-hmm. Anything that cuts in anything that makes you cry as you cut into it is already a weapon. Mm-hmm. That's already an offensive sort of situation. And I think all we need to do is unleash that latency. And I'm always thinking about this, and I'm really glad that you brought this up, because I'm constantly thinking, how can I turn everything around me into a horrible weapon? Mm-hmm. Every single item in my life is 2 steps of potentiality away from death and destruction for all those who come up against me, which are many, and my enemies are manifold. And so today we're going to take the onion, and we're going to show it what for.
Okay.
All right. First thing an onion needs is eyes.
And the eyes kind of pop.
And it's just like, this amulet is so fucking hot.
And it's blinking, and it's kind of like rolling around a little bit.
How do you just have this, man? Don't tell me. I put it on. All right, the onion that is in my hand that has clearly, it's sort of come out of my sleeves as a liquid and, coiled in my hand and formed itself as an onion. Mm-hmm. And it creaks open 2 eyes, and it's, looking at me really intently right now.
And blinking hard.
I can't take my eyes off it. And I'm like, I need to, here's the problem, Dr. Onion. Everybody's a doctor in my universe and is also a weapon. And I think you know that. So I'm looking at Dr. Onion directly in the eyes, and we're making eye contact. Open palm slap his ass on the ground. Cutting board is here. I'm going to make my first incision on the top of Dr. Onion. And he starts crying immediately. I don't like the knife tip doesn't even get close. I'm like, I'm about to slice you. And he goes, and just starts weeping a little bit. And so here's what's going to happen, right? Because an onion can't cry.
Right.
But it wants to real bad. It's getting as hot as the amulet is. And so like these eyes are like getting redder and redder, and it's like blinking. As I imagine, you've sliced an onion before, and you felt it in your body. Just the power it's not emotion, but it's still important. And I want to get into that as an aside after I'm done describing this weapon of onion destruction.
Okay.
But Dr. Onion is here and is like rumbling. It's like so upset with me right here, just rambling. And I'm like saying, I need you to be a little bit more upset. And it does get more upset. It just needed a little bit of verbal. And so like the amulet is sticking to my skin right now. It's really extremely painful, searingly so, but I'm like totally fine with it because what I have in my hand is a weapon so powerful. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in one of my first enemies. Can you roll in the enemy? The enemy's here. And I'm going to put the onion on the table, and it creaks open its one angry eye, and like just a pure beam of tears just cuts right through my enemy's face, as you just saw.
Oh my god, it was like a fucking water pit.
Yeah, it was totally like
that was incredibly violent.
Incision. Yeah, it was really brutal. Thank you, you're so sweet. And so I just gave the enemy a hug, and they're like totally fine.
All right, I'll catch you later.
Love you, buddy. Can you believe that fucking guy?
I understand exactly.
God. Anyway, I'm going to peel this amulet off very carefully, and I now have a scar for the rest of my life, and I place it on the onion, and at this point, I have no idea what could even happen. I have just destabilized the nature of reality.
Why did you do that? Holy shit, the onion is rumbling and shaking over here now.
I figure it's not my problem anymore.
Holy shit, the onion is so big!
It's like growing.
I'm so the onion is like almost like a graphics card error. It's just like flickering in and out of massiveness. Totally
glitching.
It's a completely scary onion.
I'm not liking that at all.
Why did you do that?
That doesn't scare me.
You didn't have to do this at all.
That's not a problem.
We're in like mortal danger right now.
I mean, it's no big deal. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I've just turned this microphone into a weapon, and I'm wielding it. As everything in my life is a weapon, my two weapons have come up against one another and are glitching each other out at an even more intense rate. Things are sort of flying at me at all times, especially right now because these two things are getting close together. I can't see, but I think it's fine.
I'm thinking this has been haha, yeah.
Here's the thing about haha, yeah. You laughed, you cried. You looked at yourself and you looked at others. Fuck, I don't know. I hope you liked it.
Yeah, I think it was good.
I'll sell.
I'm Hyperlink.
And together, we have been on your mind.